Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Sally Baudet, live from Johannesburg. Your top stories this evening. The Mineral Resources Minister hits back at AMCU's allegations that he's corrupt. Now, the union is also threatening to bring gold, platinum and coal mining to a halt. A Pretoria teenager takes her own life, allegedly after cyberbullies threatened to share a naked image of her on social media. And as Caster Semenya challenges IAAF rules in a landmark case on testosterone limits for female athletes, we visit the Olympic champions' hometown of Masehlong in Limpopo. And let's start here. Mining union AMCU and the Minerals Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe are in a tense standoff. The labour union has been on strike for 3 months at Semenya-Stillwater's gold operations. Now it's calling on its workers at platinum and coal mines to join the industrial action. Our reporter Viwe Mtila reports that AMCU has also taken swipes at Mantashe and rival union, the National Union of Mineworkers.
Ulimenemene Gwede Mantashe. Loosely translated, that means you're a crook, Gwede Mantashe. This message to the Mineral Resources Minister comes as AMCU plans to bring mines to a grinding halt. The union wants its members in the platinum and coal sectors to down tools, joining workers at Semenya-Stillwater. That company's just announced plans to retrench nearly 6,000 workers at its gold mines.
The economic emancipation of the workers cannot be postponed. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Whether it takes that the industry must collapse and start afresh, let be so.
If workers heed this call, they'll be joining 15,000 others who are already striking in the gold sector. The union is accusing Mantashe of not doing enough to resolve the stalemate.
I've tried to engage with the minister, and to me now it's clear that he's not the minister for minerals or to embrace all the unions. He just embraced NUM, so he's the minister for NUM.
The minister is rubbishing the allegations.
The reality of the matter is, he has set 3 meetings with me, and I accepted all the 3 meetings. His delegation came to those meetings without him. All the 3 meetings I had were led by the General Secretary of AMCU. I've met them. So that I'm biased towards the NUM cannot be truthful.
AMCU's call for a secondary strike comes as platinum producers are due to start wage negotiations with labour unions this year. Viwe Mtila, Johannesburg.
Well, the National Union of Mineworkers has also responded to AMCU leader Joseph Mathunjwa. They say they're fed up with his posturing and his attempts to undermine the NUM's integrity. Now, the NUM says the AMCU leader is to blame for the ongoing violence at Sebanya's various operations. Several NUM members have been killed and others have had their houses and cars set alight. The National Union of Mineworkers also says AMCU's claim of being the majority union at Semenya-Stillwater gold operations is not true. The union has called out Mathunjwa for supposedly lying about ongoing wage negotiations. It says AMCU left the bargaining table at a very early stage. A 13-year-old Pretoria girl committed suicide on Monday, allegedly because she was being bullied on social media. Gauteng education officials believe pupils were threatening to share a naked photograph of her on messaging group WhatsApp. Now, her mother was apparently at the primary school trying to sort out the problem when the girl took her own life at home yesterday. Now, parents and educators are asking what can be done to stop the scourge of teen suicides and cyberbullying. Our reporter Liranzo Temba has more on the story.
On Monday morning, a grade 6 pupil at the school killed herself, apparently after relentless cyberbullying on a WhatsApp group.
We know that there was an allegation that was reported at the school that one learner threatened to circulate a video footage depicting her, these days, learners or young people, they do what we call twerking and all those things.
The extremely traumatized 13-year-old rang the alarm and reported the alleged bullying to her teachers in an effort to get help. She also named the schoolmates said to be responsible.
Our safety measure policy is very clear on what is it that the school must do in the event there's such a case that has been reported to them. The protocol is there on what is it that you need to do.
The password is for you to have access and to know what your child is doing.
One social worker is warning cyberbullying is on the rise.
Social media, when you've sent it out, it's out there. You cannot pull it back. It's not something that you can erase from the net. If you've sent it out, it's out there, and that is the problem. And we don't see that children really grasp that yet.
Strauss says parents have a big role to play in identifying and squashing online bullying.
If you cannot have access to your child's phone, then they are hiding something. So have access to your child's phone, see what they are watching, what are they monitoring, go into the chat groups and know who the children are that your child is talking to.
The Education Department will be providing counselling to pupils and teachers at the school. Beranzo Temba, Pretoria.
Caster Semenya's hometown is rallying round her as she fights for her right to compete without being subjected to testosterone-reducing drugs. She's currently at the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland, making her case against the IAAF's new classification regulations for female athletes. Our reporter, Tlonium Tumkulu, has spent the day at the 28-year-old Olympic champion's hometown of Ga Masehlong in Limpopo. Tloni was at the running track where Caster used to train as a girl.
And this brings it home then, Tloni, the whole situation about Caster saying that this is nothing to do with me. And another child could come from the tracks that we see behind you and actually find themselves facing this situation. Are people even aware of what this latest court battle, all the way in Switzerland, away from Moleji, what that fight has anything, what it has to do with?
Well, so I think that they're not quite aware of where things are at this point. We did speak to them about that. So the actual extent of it, not so much, but I think they are aware that when her name is brought up, when you bring up athletics, when you bring up the IAAF or an athletics body, they know what is happening. So they're aware that there have been issues that have gone on, and there are some who have said that, you know, this actually needs to end. That are they jealous of her, questioning the motives behind the IAAF and any other body that has taken issue with her. So even though they don't actually know maybe the full extent of it or what's happening this week, they certainly are aware that there are things happening, and they do want it to come to an end. And it's not just here. I mean, we spoke to people in Joburg as well, and they were also like, this has been going on for so long. It really does need to come to an end. And when you think about it, it has been going on for 10 years, since 2009 at the Berlin World Champs, when that unfolded, and the way that unfolded as well, and the effect that it had, and the fact that it is still going on. She's now 28. She's an Olympic champion. She's a world champion as well. She's won more medals from that 2009 gold medal, you know, so it's just something that has been going on, and hopefully this will bring an end. Hopefully, once now that it's at CAS, it will bring an end to this once and for all.
Trouble at KwaZulu-Natal universities, with 3 of them now closed indefinitely. This in the wake of violent protests and the death recently of a Durban University of Technology student. Students have been instructed to leave residences amid the safety concerns. Our reporter Mawande Keshwa reports on the state of higher learning in the province and the issues that are sparking the protests.
Worried over security, the Durban University of Technology has suspended its academic program at all campuses in the city. The University of Zululand and Mangosuthu University of Technology are following suit, going as far as requesting all students to vacate residences.
Currently, the state of the university is that it's closed and there are no classes commencing.
The SRC is defiant, saying it won't be leaving.
We're not going anywhere. If they want to send police inside to vacate us, it's fine.
Students at these universities have staged a total shutdown. Their grievances range from problems with NSFAS allowances, fee increases, and the clearing of historical debt.
The university has lost a lot of time. Students have also lost a lot of time, so there will have to be a plan to recoup lost time.
Management at these institutions will continue talking to SRCs to find a solution that will allow students back into lecture halls. Mawande Keswa, Durban.
Still ahead on eNews. Legendary couture king Karl Lagerfeld has died at the age of 85.
And in your business news, the rand was a touch weaker today, and this as investors await fresh global and local drivers.
Talking business now with Rafi Medina. Good evening, Rafi. You have been looking at the bottom line around the Semenya-Stillwater strike and the very real possibility that it's now going to move into a secondary strike, as we heard in our top story this evening, moving into platinum and coal. Those are the threats by AMCU. What have you discovered?
Absolutely, Sally. So what we've seen with the strike that has been ongoing in their gold operations by AMCU, they've reported that they are set to lose R1 billion in revenue from the gold operations. And that's significant for the miner because their gold operations haven't been doing very well. We've seen volatility in the gold price. So every bit of revenue is very important. So it's going to be very interesting to see how their platinum and coal operations are impacted, given that PGM's platinum group metals are the biggest contributor to their revenue. And we are, as South Africa, a net exporter of commodities. So if platinum and coal operations are impacted by over 12,000 striking workers, just from AMCU alone, not counting workers from other unions, our exporting market could completely collapse and have dire consequences for the mining industry, which contributes significantly to our GDP.
So the fact, that this union could actually destroy this industry, is it something that they're cognizant of? I mean, 6,000 jobs already on the line.
No, absolutely. I don't think so, Sally. I think they're really focused on the fact that miners could lose their jobs. They're focused on those wage increases that they've been demanding since September last year, and really not a long-term outlook, as we can see.
I have to ask you about the budget. We've been so focusing on the SAA and that sort of thing. What is the impact going to be, or likely to be, on you and me around sin tax, fuel levies?
Absolutely,
what are
Sally.
predictions?
So we're going to be seeing, so economists are saying we are going to be seeing an increase in the fuel levy between 15 to 20 cents. That is likely. The next one is medical aid. We're going to need to fund the national health insurance, so that's going to increase. And then sin taxes, you're going to pay more for your alcohol and your cigarettes.
And income tax?
Income tax, it's unlikely to increase given the pressure on the consumer, but we will be keeping an eye on that as well.
Gosh, we'll get all that news tomorrow, of course. How are the markets today?
So the markets had a relatively dull day. The JSE closed lower as investors traded with caution ahead of that budget speech tomorrow. Earnings from miners also gave the local bourse its direction. On the commodities front, it was a mixed bag of trade today for Brent crude. While the price was supported by those OPEC-led supply cuts, slower global growth weighed on that price. Meanwhile, the gold price is at a 10-month high thanks to that weaker dollar. Onto the local unit. Now the rand is still weaker against major global currencies, and this as investors wait for the plans that the finance minister will unveil to fix Eskom and save the country from a downgrade, Sally.
Thank you very much, Rafi. Let's move now to international news. And US Senator Bernie Sanders says he will run again for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination in 2020. Sanders mounted a fierce challenge to frontrunner Hillary Clinton in the 2016 White House campaign. The 77-year-old independent has been among the leaders in opinion polls of prospective candidates. Tributes pour in for legendary fashion designer Karl Lagerfeld, who's died in Paris at the age of 85. Fashion house Chanel, where Lagerfeld was creative director for many years, announced his death this morning. Fashion designer Victoria Beckham described him as a genius. Donatella Versace says he was a source of inspiration to her and her brother Gianni Versace. British broadcaster Piers Morgan tweeted about Lagerfeld today. He said he hated tattoos, sweatpants, meetings and sandals, and that alone earns him legend status. Still ahead, we'll go to our weather centre for the live weather report with Louis. And then, cows in Hong Kong get a taste of supermarket convenience. Let's get all your weather news from Cape Town. Louis Fernandez standing by. Good evening, Louis. How's it looking?
Good evening, Sally. Well, to put it bluntly, there really isn't much going on over South Africa at the moment. Today was a dry day across South Africa. Quite a bit of cloud development here and there, while towards the west it was sunny and very hot, but as mentioned, it was dry across the area, and it stays dry overnight for the country. Just a bit more fog moving in along the western coastline. It also becomes cloudy towards the south coast, where we could start seeing some early morning drizzle as we head into your Wednesday. And then into the afternoon, partly cloudy skies. Once again, it is going to be a hot day across the interior. We'll look at those temperatures in a moment, while over parts of the Eastern Cape and southern KwaZulu-Natal interior, there could be a couple of isolated afternoon thunderstorms. But the Northern Cape will be mostly sunny, very hot once again for most areas, along with the foggy conditions closer to the coastline. Some cloud cover toward the coastal areas of the Western Cape, and that could even bring in a little bit of drizzle for the southern parts, especially for the areas closer to the mountains, but the chances are quite low. We're really not expecting too much rain. Afternoon thunderstorms for the interior of the Eastern Cape. Those will be isolated. It is going to be a hot day for the province. And take a look at some of these temperatures in KwaZulu-Natal. 37 for Pietermaritzburg, Ladysmith and Ulundi, and just a few patchy storms in the southern interior of this area as well. On the Mpumalanga Highveld, it's going to be a cold morning, so you might need more than one layer of clothing if you're heading outdoors at first thing in the morning, but later on things will be warming up very nicely and you certainly won't be needing the jerseys then. A hot and dry day for Limpopo, a bit of cloud development in the south, and in the northwest it's also going to be a very hot day for some areas. Mahikeng and Rustenburg, 33 degrees as your maximum. And then for the Free State, partly cloudy afternoon, but for the meantime, not quite enough to get those thunderstorms going. And you'll see similar conditions into Gauteng's cloud cover bubbling up in the daytime heat, but for now it does stay dry. Let's look further ahead to your forecast for Thursday, and we're going to see thunder showers developing in the eastern interior of South Africa, but the Highveld will be partly cloudy, hot and dry, as well as in the Northern Cape. And then on Friday, thunderstorms extend onto the Highvelds, including Gauteng, as well as parts of the northwest, while further westwards, the dry heat persists. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Sally, it's back to you.
Thank you so much, Louis Fernandez. And finally, a herd of wild cows has caused some concern at a Hong Kong supermarket. Obviously, tired of grazing fresh grass, the group of 4 cows decided a change of diet was necessary. They wandered into the Fusion supermarket in a rural town in southwestern Hong Kong at around 8 o'clock in the evening. They worked their way around the fruit and vegetable section while shoppers looked on. Well, the cows obviously have discerning taste in apples and oranges, as Fusion supermarket is known for its upmarket gourmet food. A local council expressed concern that the cows may have gained a taste for supermarket convenience, and word will spread. Before we go, let's recap your top stories this evening. The Mineral Resources Minister hits back at AMCU allegations that he's corrupt. The union is also threatening to bring gold, coal and platinum mining to a standstill. A tragic story: Pretoria teenager takes her own life, allegedly after cyber bullies threatened to share a naked image of her on social media. From me and the team, it's a very good night to you.